What's up, everybody? This is Baxter Street Boys. As always, I'm your host, Cole Wilcox, joined by co-host Jake Gordon and our producer, Griffin Rudy. We are super excited to come to y'all this week with some more Georgia football talk. The Dogs are undefeated. Not only did we set a draft record last year, we won the national championship. Everybody expected us to regress, but midway through the season, there we are, sitting at the top, alone. Kirby Smart is the best coach in college football at the moment, and that should have everybody fired up. A lot to take down from last game, a lot of good, really not much bad. I thought it was one of our best performances of the year, so let's just break it down and get right into it.
10, 12, he's running over people. Oh, you hurt the walking. We just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose. We just crushed their face.
Defense, 40, 30, they won't catch him. Go, Swift, into the end zone, touchdown! The freshman just ran it back to Philadelphia. Throws near sideline, and it's intercepted. Intercepted, Keely Ringo at the 21. Off he goes, 40, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, near sideline, breaks the tackle, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, 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 Georgia.
I know I'm asking a lot, you guys, but hunker it down one more time.
All right, before we dive right into Georgia football, I do have to tell y'all about our boys at Turtle Box. These guys are the best. It's the best speaker in the game. If you don't believe me, just go look it up yourself. And these guys know what they're doing. They're a great follow on Instagram, great content, but their speakers are incredible. They're waterproof, they're durable, they look great. You can pair two at the same time, put them on both sides of the tailgate. They do it all. And lucky for you, you can get 10% off if you use code BSB10 for all purchases. They have all kinds of good stuff on their website. Definitely check them out. Give them a follow on Instagram. And tag us when you get a speaker, because I promise you, you will not be disappointed. I was skeptical at first. Got my own. It's the real deal. I take it everywhere. I take it golfing. I have it in the truck for all times. Playing some cornhole, playing some spike ball, pickleball this weekend. Turtle Box by the side. It's a great purchase. I promise you will not regret it. So definitely check them out. Boys, how we doing?
Good. What an ad read. That was fantastic. Appreciate all y'all tuning in as always. We see y'all in the comments. The new edit with the camera angles, that's all grip. That was all grip.
That was sick.
I had to switch it up a little bit,
Yeah. We appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys are already popping. I love this right here. I love this from Josh Rumsey. We already got a prediction. Georgia 38, Ohio State 31. Let me tell you, folks, if we play Ohio State in the playoff, Twitter will be set on fire, because that fan base needs to be checked. And who better to check them than us? I promise you we will check them. Those guys do a lot of crying.
There's another fan base that needs to be checked, and we'll get to that. But
yeah, but Griff, I'll tell you what's crazy about Tennessee, because that's who Griff's referring to, obviously. There's no other fan base. I'll take that back. There are some people in each fan base that will do this, that as soon as your team loses or as soon as their team wins, they're texting you. I mean, people you haven't talked to in years. Me personally, that is the last thing on my mind when Georgia wins. Like, I'm going to text my buddy that's a Florida fan and tell him he sucks. Like, I have a little bit of feel, and I'll let them have their moment. I'll have Tennessee fans when they beat Alabama, who I don't even have a dog in the fight. I had people texting me, hey, keep betting against Tennessee. I love it. Or, but you suck, Tennessee, blah, blah, all this bullcrap. I'm like, dude, relax. Like, I don't even have a dog in the fight. My team won 55-0 today. I don't know what your problem is. And I have people tell me, oh, we are making a mockery of us on that podcast. I mean, yeah, I hate Tennessee. I will make a mockery of them at every point I can do.
Tennessee had a good win, but they still barely beat Alabama at home when Alabama had, 17 penalties, was it?
Yeah.
They had a good game. But, yeah, I mean, that's that week. That's them. We're us. I'm excited. I am so excited.
I can't wait.
Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get a night game, which really does piss me off. But
I will say the Bama LSU game is that weekend, and so maybe, just maybe, that could get the 3:30.
Your only hope. Yeah, your only hope would be LSU beating Ole Miss this weekend. I guess maybe your only hope.
Tennessee losing to Kentucky. That'd be the only way.
Yeah, which would make the game not really as fun.
Yeah. Listen, that Tennessee has not had a number beside their name in a long time in the standings. These guys don't know how to act. And we told y'all that ignorance was about to be abundance on Twitter. You have to ignore it. We play Florida first, and we cannot lose our hate on Florida. I'm not going to say we can't lose our focus because listen to me, as fans, our focus doesn't matter for the 100th time. So don't ever tell me that in the comments that we need to focus on Florida. If we can't beat Florida, we shouldn't have beaten big games anyway. They suck. But Tennessee, I cannot wait for that week.
I don't know
2 weeks to hate Florida though. 2 weeks.
Yeah. How am I supposed to sleep until that?
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. That's one of those games where we can make a serious statement. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but man, we can absolutely make a statement.
I can't even.
Everyone out there pray for Agent Ocho 8. He says, I live in Nashville. This shit is horrible.
I can't even imagine.
I can't imagine.
I live in Chattanooga right now. Like I'm right there with you, my man. It's awful. It's absolutely terrible. These guys have a sickness, a true sickness. But contrary to popular belief, the number one team in the land did play, and neither of those teams were in Knoxville this past weekend. We were in Athens, putting on an absolute clinic. Georgia 55, Vanderbilt nothing. I think that's the right score, right?
Yes,
yep.
That is correct.
Do y'all have off the top of your head? Yeah, Griff, I think you're about to say what I wanted you to say.
Yeah, fun fact. This is the 19th game in the Kirby Smart era in which the opposing team did not score a touchdown.
Yeah, that's insane. And what was the last 2 years against Vandy is like 96-3 or something.
Oh,
no, worse, like 100.
It's worse than that. It's 100
because it was 62-0 last year.
118-0. I think it was 63 last year, maybe.
Disgusting. That is disgusting.
Yeah. They messed up our freaking homecoming.
I was listening to
senior night.
The college football recap the next morning, and they said last year Georgia beat Vanderbilt 65-3 or whatever it was, 63-3. This year 55-0. And it was not Jesse Palmer. It was Joey Galloway. He was like, "Hey, Vanderbilt's gotten a touchdown better." And it's moved on. It was like super.
That was it. Yeah,
that was.
It was
funny.
62. Yeah, it was 62-0 and 55-0. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that was good stuff. Yeah, poor Vanderbilt.
Nah, shouldn't have canceled senior day. I'll remember that forever.
That is true. I sometimes think about that. Screw them. I mean, that was unbelievable. They had all the politics that year too. Just what an absolute display by Vanderbilt. Of how
that was the reason. Their whole team pretty much quit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Insane. But
enough kicking them while they're down. We can talk about the game.
Yeah, there's not much talk about Vanderbilt. Before we preface this, I saw a lot of people in the comments talking about our secondary and stuff. Will Shepard is good. That's his first name.
Yeah,
right? Will.
Was he the leading receiver in the SEC going
at one point? I'm pretty sure he's a top 5 receiver in the SEC.
He's good.
I'm very willing to say that he is really, really good. There was sometimes he was covered and he made the play. So I've heard, I wasn't gonna say. I was about to say he's really good. Let's just keep it at that.
Swan's pretty good too, and both of those guys will probably be in the portal at the end of the year and playing somewhere
in the portal, I hope he's in red and black. He's really good. Really, really
I can back that up. I can say that
a true X receiver in the SEC, which is cool. Cool, good for Vanderbilt. So let's talk about us. Where do y'all even want to start? Offense, defense, we-fence.
Let's go offense.
Let's
go offense. I did like the offense looked on time. We talked about that issues with sometimes against Auburn, but mostly against Missouri. The offense looked like they were on time. Everybody looked efficient. 5.1 yards per carry. That's always good. And Stetson had a good game too. We're not going to talk many negatives because frankly, there really aren't any this game.
Yep. No, I thought it was Stet's best performance in South Carolina personally. I thought he just looked. I thought him and Monken were on the same page again for what felt like the first time in a while. It was offense a little more upbeat. It was just like we're just going to take what they give us, and they were playing way off our outside receivers, and we would just hit them quick, get them in space, let them work. And it seemed simple, but for a little bit, it just didn't feel like we were doing that. Maybe we were trying some different things out, wanted to establish ourselves on the ground. This game kind of felt like, all right, we're going to get more back now that we've established through the air, we've established on the ground game what we can do. Let's put it all together and just have an elite offense, and that's what it felt like this game that we did.
We just did whatever we wanted.
Yeah, we really did. But I just felt like command of the game, ball coming out of his hand, timing, decisions, everything. Stet was back. Like that's what it felt like to me from the opening statement. He delivered that great pass on third down to Rosemary Jackson. Felt like it got his rhythm going, and then after that, he completed 14 straight passes. He finished the first half with 211 yards. I think he was it 16 for 18? 18 for 20. 211, 18 for 20, 2 tutties in the first half, 14 straight completions in the middle of that. He was just on, and he was making it look easy. I thought Monken was kind of back to dialing it up. Everything looked good on the offense from my point of view.
Yeah, O-line was setting the tone. Kenny Mack was running well between the tackles. All the backs were carrying the ball well. And I think one of my favorite things, I've been calling the Dylan Bell game forever. I finally didn't call it this week, and it finally happened. Most catches, second most yards. Dylan Bell looked really good. And, I mean, it was the same old, getting everybody spread out, getting everybody involved.
No doubt. I got to shout out Greg Beck here because I feel for these folks. I live an hour and a half from Knoxville. However bad the dude from Nashville says it is, I assure you it's worse here. I hope you got like an Airbnb or a hotel or something that night and just got out of town because that's hell on earth. Like, I'm just being frank. That would be
It
awful.
is.
I mean, you would have thought they won the Super Bowl. Enough about Tennessee. Enough about that.
Yeah. We can.
I thought, like you said, Jake, the offensive line came out and set the tone from the first play. We get the ball to Kenny Mack. He gets like 8 yards. Offensive line just absolutely rolled over people. They found something. I think Brooks said that in the show that he popped in a while back. That fourth quarter of Missouri, they found something that worked. I don't know if it was a mentality, a scheme. There was something about that fourth quarter of Missouri that they started moving people again like they were early in the year. And that's huge. I mean, we're going to need the ground game. Everybody wants to throw the ball a lot. I like seeing us throw the ball a lot. I think it's cool. But there comes a point in time in close games in the fourth quarter where you need to run the ball. And we are proving that we can do that. And I love it. People were moving guys. We're getting out. We're hitting the second level. Receivers block better on the edge. That's a buy-in that has always been a staple of Kirby. He's a guy who can get people to buy in like that. And now having McClendon out there too, who's big on that. I just think from an offensive line and a blocking on the perimeter standpoint, we are in a good spot going into the bye week.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the big thing. We got to get healthy this week. We got a long ride down to Jacksonville, but take some time, a little rest, a little reflection, because we talked about this. The meaty part of the schedule is definitely coming up.
Yep. Here's a good comment right here. Chase Langford. I'll let you go in a minute, Griff. No, wrong one. My bad, Chase. Right here. Connor
that one's
Brown.
good too.
Yeah, it is. Don Blaylock breaking a 2-year touchdown drought. Perseverance to a T. 1,000.
We had both these things on the list to talk about. So
1,
that was.
Yeah, we will get to
very
Beck
happy
later.
for
That was a tearjerker.
I want to set aside some time for Beck. But yeah, Dom, man, and I said it on Twitter, like it pulled at the heartstrings seeing him make that catch, toe tap. It looks like vintage Dom, get in the end zone, cut up field. But that's not some feel-good story touchdown against Vanderbilt. Don Blaylock is going to have some of the biggest catches of the regular season and postseason for us this year. He is that guy who, even as a freshman, he came in, and when you needed him, that touchdown was on 3rd and goal from the 8. That is a hard 3rd and goal from the 8. Yeah, that's a hard place to score from. And where do we go? We go to Dom, let him make a play. He's going to make plenty more plays this year, arguably some of our biggest plays. I can't wait to see Dom back. I've heard good rumors from people on the team about him at practice. He just looks back to his old self.
That's what I was
He's here to stay.
He's starting to cook.
He's here to stay. No
and another
doubt
one
about it.
too, Eric Gilbert, man. You saw him catch the touchdown, and you saw the reaction from everybody. Yep, see, Chat's on it tonight. They know what we're on.
Yeah,
There it is.
Eric catches a touchdown, and oh my God, everybody on the team, everybody's patting him on the head, everybody's jumping up, picking him up, and that's not an easy task, by the way. He's a big man.
No.
Everybody is hyped up for him, and that's the type of stuff he needs. He needs that type of support around him. And it was good to see. He's gotten in late a few times, hasn't made much of a difference, but you could tell Beck was looking for him. And this was a perfect time to get him involved. And hopefully, if we need him, he can work in a little bit more and make an impact when it's not garbage time. But I was very happy for him as well. Good to see him just on the football field in general.
From that reaction from the team, you just know that that's a guy who's been through some stuff. Like those guys felt for him. They're happy to see him get to where he is now. That's why you have to reserve all judgment on Twitter and all judgment in conversation. Like you have absolutely no idea what someone's dealing with at any point in time. So you saw the teammates' reaction, you saw the coach's reaction, even people on the other team coming up and dapping him up after the game. He's clearly a well-liked guy, clearly a good teammate. You just hope everything comes together, and that guy's an NFL player if it all does. So shout out Eric Gilbert. That's a huge, huge touchdown for him. Let's stay in the time.
What'd you have?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Griff.
Oh no, it was just about the offensive line. Just how you don't win games at the end of games with the passing game. I mean, like when you're trying to close a team out and you need a first down, you don't throw the ball because that stops the clock. Like if you don't complete it, you run the ball. And so, I mean, like, but we kind of got past
No,
it.
you have to have it. And I think Brooks said it on Twitter today. I thought it was really good when he was talking about he watched Bama in Tennessee, and he was saying that for every absolute stud on the offensive line, there are 4 big-time skill positions around the country. Like, winning outside you can do, but people can match that. When you have 5 NFL starters up front in college, nobody can match that. You cannot beat that. So that is what is important. Football will always be one up front. You can have your shootouts and all that, but that's not sustainable. You have to be able to block up front. Tennessee did have the shootout, and they did win outside, but they won up front for a majority of the game, which is so uncharacteristic for Bama. You have to win the up front to win the game. You might scrape by, get some turnovers one game, lose up front. Kind of like we did in Missouri for the first couple quarters. I felt like we were losing up front. Fourth quarter, turn it around, win the game. Those things are what is sustainable, and Georgia is building a sustainul foundation. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about this Thursday too. Running the ball is a mentality thing. You may only get 4 yards, but if you are beating the guy in front of you over and over and over again, he's going to quit eventually.
Yep. Yeah, and that's kind of what we've always done. Like, we've just leaned on people in the first half. We talked about this before. We lean on them, build a lead, hold it, and in the fourth quarter, we just step on their throat. They fall. They can't hang with us. And when you're playing these teams around the country who can't match our depth, that's our main attraction is our depth. And when we can lean on people, by the fourth quarter, we're chilling, they're tired. That's when we really step on their throat.
Well, and I've had some conversations with some people, even like after the Auburn game, and they were like, well, we're not playing good. I mean, like, it was close with Auburn, and we were only up 14. It's like, yeah, but what happened in the second half? Because we played the way that we did in the first half and wore them down, they couldn't compete with us in the second half at all. We did whatever we want in the second half of that game because they were so worn down and defeated that they couldn't do anything.
Yep. And that's how you separate people who know football and who don't. Like, Todd Monken has proven at his time in Georgia that he will do whatever it takes to beat the team we're playing that week. Like, he is not stuck in his own ways, and I respect that so much about him. He can win in so many different ways. He's willing to run the ball 40 times against Auburn and rush for 300 yards. Like, that's what's so special about him. And then this week we come out and we throw the ball more than we ran the ball in the first half. So and against Oregon, we threw it all over him. Like, he knows what to do, when to do it. And that's why I just really don't worry about the offense very often because I know we're in really good hands. But
yeah, that's I don't. When I'm sitting there watching the game, I'm not sitting there going, "Well, why are we calling this? Why are we calling this?" I'm good. I know I'm good.
I know my place.
100%.
I know my place now. All right.
There's always something to set up. Like you run a QB draw that doesn't get much. That's setting it up for something later down the road. Like, he has earned that trust. I give him that trust.
Yeah.
Let's stick in the tight end room though. We talked about Eric. We have a guy who is emerging as potentially tight end 1 in the draft come the spring. Like, Darnell Washington has proven he can do it all. He is a
man. We were hearing Notre Dame and South Carolina fans saying, Michael Mayer and Jaheim Bell, they're better than Brock Bowers. I don't know if they're better than Darnell.
I genuinely, like, in terms of having a successful NFL career and doing it all, like, Darnell could play for 12 years and just block. And then you add on what he can do with the ball in his hands and how he can get the ball in his hands. Like, that catch on the one-handed catch was awesome, and he looked really fast going down the sideline.
That catch on the sideline was better.
Incredible. And zero separation. He had zero separation on that DB, and he still caught the ball. Like, that's one of those things where that should give stat confidence too. Like, give this guy a chance. That's why I was so upset when he overthrew him against Missouri. Never overthrow Darnell, ever. Just give him a chance because no one is strong enough to take the ball from his hands. Like, he is going to come down with the football. You remember the Auburn game or Alabama game where he just absolutely dunked on Henry T. Like, he's dominating really good athletes on the outside, and then he goes inside and blocks defensive ends. The dude is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I like what Jeremy said too. He says he still doesn't really feel like the whole playbook has been shown, and I agree with that. I think Georgia's keeping it simple, and they haven't had to get too interesting. They got a couple, fly sweeps, a couple, a lot of tunnel screens, but they haven't by no means that they had to empty the clip on anybody. They didn't even have to do it against Missouri when they were down.
And And that's like kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. I feel like he has a different playbook for everybody. Like we have our staples and we have our plays that we're going to run and the formations and kind of baseline stuff we're going to run. But he has a different playbook for every team based off the matchups we're going to get. And he's going to exploit them. And some people are like, well, we use Brock Bowers more. Well, Brock Bowers was doing something in that game to create for someone else. Like you take Brock Bowers off the field and all of a sudden a lot of people look a lot less open. I can guarantee you that. Like when he's on the field, he does so much. And maybe he's not getting the ball. But I promise you, he's helping someone else get the ball at the same time. Like,
there's a reason he's going to get an NFL. There's a reason he's going to get an NFL job at some point.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm going to hate to see him go, but he's the real deal. I love him. I can't get enough. I thought that the receivers had a really good game. We kind of talked about against Auburn that we didn't think that there was a lot of guys stepping up that much. I thought Ladd had a good game. I thought Dylan Bell had a good game. Jack Saint had a good game. Dom had a good game. Like a lot of guys were getting separation and making plays when we needed to, and that was good to see.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely. I feel like this is definitely one of the best games our receivers have had so far. I mean, they looked better. They looked open all the time. They made catches. I mean, it was a good game for them. A good confidence booster, especially going into the stretch that we have now. I want to see them, really pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a lot of just getting the ball early and let them make plays. And we have guys that can do that. I remember there was, I think it was a second down and short, and they were playing way off Ladd. Stet just dumped it to him right off the snap, and he took it 20 yards, made a guy miss. Like that's when those guys start getting in rhythm, and then everything starts clicking. When they're making plays, when they're rolling, you get the ball in space, let them get some yak. That's when the offense starts really clicking. It was great to see us kind of get back to that. And like I said, it came at a really, really good time. Really?
Yeah, and I've seen some comments about Ladd, and it's a good point that he has played better. That's why you don't just go out there and yank the guy as soon as he has one bad game. Especially against Kent State. He had a little hiccups with his confidence, had a couple mental mistakes early on, and he's back to being him. And if you just yanked him out and said, oh, well, you're never playing again because you had one bad game, you just took somebody away. You just took a piece out of your offense.
Right. And Georgia's not our max potential without 84. We're just not. It's that simple. He's a guy who arguably with the ball in his hands might be our best playmaker. So that's a guy you want on the field. You want him at his full strength, and hopefully if the foot injury's all good. Like Kirby said, he could have went back in the game. Hopefully that's true. Hopefully he's back for Florida. We get AD back for Florida. That's when we're going to see what we really got on the offensive side, which is going to be fun.
And everybody, the moment everybody's been waiting for. Yes, Carson Beck did look fantastic on Saturday, and I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, well, it's Vanderbilt's, garbage time." I get all that, but that's not what it's about. He was making reads. His ball placement was incredible, and he was spinning it, man. There was some velocity on those throws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I tweeted it out when I was rewatching the game. I didn't notice it live on the touchdown to Dylan Bell. That was his third read on that play. You saw him start to the right, shifts his feet, looks in the middle of the field, shifts it again. And as soon as he recognizes it, the ball's out. Everything just looks super crisp about it. You can see it from that angle. He's playing with a lot of confidence. I don't care where it's at. Like the rollout touchdown, it ended up being incomplete. That doesn't matter.
That throw was incredible.
Right. That doesn't matter if that's on air. You can see the special talent that he has just on that play alone, much less against the defense. I don't care what quality it is. Like there's some stuff you don't need to see a defense for to determine how talented the kid is. But when you see it in the game, in pads, under the lights, make that throw through that window on the run, that's big time stuff.
Throwing guys open. I mean, he was doing all the little stuff. And, that's what we've heard is, he had always looked pretty good at practice just based off of talent. But he's been studying film. He's been working on the little things. And it's really starting to show because we saw him in games last year. And he looked horrible most of the time. And, I mean, he just looks absolutely incredible. I don't think there's any type of quarterback controversy or anything. We've been reading that ridiculous stuff all week. Yeah, but he has been so good, and it does get you a little excited about next year. Obviously, we got plenty of business to take care of this year. But, you think he's going to get another offseason of prep, probably going to prep as a starter. He could be really special next year.
Yeah, for sure. And you really do kind of pull for a guy who stuck it out like he has in the era where if you don't win the job your first year, you're out. He stuck around. He loves Georgia, clearly. He trusts the coaching staff to get him where he wants to go. And he's going to have that opportunity now. Like he's putting stuff on tape now in prep of getting noticed next year. If y'all think back to George Pickens' pro day, he chose Carson Beck to throw to him. Like there's people in that building that know how special he is and special he can be. And when he puts all those things together, which is looking like he is, he's going to be a real dude, like an NFL prospect type dude.
Yeah, there's people who've had their tabs on Carson Beck since that pro day. They were impressed by what he had to offer on that day, and it's proven to just getting better. Like, and next year it'll be his reigns, but this year,
it's good to have that insurance policy too. We know if something does happen to Stetson, God forbid, we got somebody back there who can manage things. And
I mean, we know all about how that can matter. So
yeah, exactly.
2018 SEC championship. I mean, how in the world he got Jalen Hurts to stick around for another year, I don't know, but
yeah, it's always good to have a backup. And our last note on offense, Jake, I think you had it. Cash Jones elite ?
That was sick.
I'm gonna say yeah.
the money side of the end zone was nasty. I had the volume turned down at that point. I was watching the Alabama-Tennessee game. I looked down, saw the touchdown. I kept looking for a minute. I looked away and I looked back. I was like, he's hit the money Manziel up 55-0. That's big time. That is big time.
I forgot too. He had that stiff arm against South Carolina. He absolutely ragdolled some kids. But yeah, he's another good story. He's a fun player. His name's Cash Jones. It's hilarious.
Cash Jones.
I love the guy. Love the guy.
How could you not pull for that? Cash Jones, elite. All right, let's move over to the defense. Defense they just keep getting better every week, and that is a terrifying thought. From what we've seen this year, they're giving up 9 points a game, and what did we give up last year heading into the SEC championship? Like 6 points a game. So they're gonna have a lot of good offenses coming up, and so we're really about to see what they're about. But getting to this point, if you had told me they're giving up 9 points a game coming into the bye week, I'm taking that every single day of the week.
How can you?
We're talking about Oregon, South Carolina. Like there were some games on here that some people before the season would have said would have been our toughest game.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly. I'm not going to sit here and nitpick a performance where the team gave up 150 yards.
Yeah, it's borderline impossible. I think like everyone else, because when you're winning a game that big, I think you start to really look for what went wrong while you're watching the game. Like you want everything to be perfect, which is good. Like, and I know Kirby Smart wants the same thing, and so you're thinking like, oh, there's a couple of busts in our secondary. When I went back and watched the game, it really kind of wasn't. We had the one play with Keeley. He had him clamped. He just jumped too early. That's it. And there was one wheel route out of the backfield. Robert Beal kind of ran into one of our guys, and he kind of got stuck, and he got lost. Listen, those plays happen. Like, busting coverages happen. DB is one of the hardest positions to play in all of sports. Like, at some point, they're going to get beat. There was one play over the middle where Chris Smith is all over Shepard. Swan put the ball in the money. Shepard went up, made a really good catch, and there's nothing you can do about that. And that's when you say, hey, tip your cap. But that's kind of Kirby Smart's whole thing is like, hey, limit the big play. That kind of stuff happens. That's all right. Line up, get a turnover the next play, which we did. So I think there was a little bit of overreaction to the DB because everybody's kind of scared of watching the Tennessee-Bama game, the shootout. You're trying to look at all the ways we can stop that, and you're like, well, I remember one play where this guy got behind. It's all good. It's all good.
There's a reason you remember that one play and not the 50 other ones that were, fantastic. And, when you look at the numbers after the game, I knew they played well, but, 23 carries for 45 yards. Their longest rush was 8 yards. That's 2 yards a carry.
Insane.
Only allowing 4.4 yards per pass. And we saw Vandy. They had 2 big drives in the first half, and then Georgia got a takeaway. Chris Smith got a fumble, and then they missed the field goal to end the half. Second half, 4 straight punts, turnover on downs, game over. That is complete domination.
Yep. Jeremy Clement said Chris Smith's instincts are ridiculous. Yeah, that dude's at home on a football field.
I love that dude.
He's really blossoming, man, and he looks so much faster this year.
Yeah, it's just because it just seems like he's like Jeremy said. It's coming like a second quicker to him, and he can just see the field. And when you have that, that's what they talk about game speed. People don't understand what that means sometimes. Like it's not always about the 40; it's about the game speed. And Kobe Dean, he had game speed. He saw it. He saw the play before it happened. Chris Smith is kind of getting to that point. He's reacting so quickly, and he's beating the ball carrier to the spot, which is pretty impressive.
It's crazy. You'll be looking. Oh yeah, go ahead with this. I know we wanted to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dylan Everett getting some meaningful snaps, which is, I mean, huge.
I will
played well.
push back on that though. It says Dalen Everett got meaningful snaps in place of Lassiter. I don't think Lassiter's not going anywhere, and I'm confused on why. I'm not saying Connor's saying this. I'm saying that there's a lot of people out there saying that Lassiter might be losing his job or some other. Lassiter has been really, arguably our best corner this year.
He's awesome.
He has been really, really good. Like Kamari Lassiter, I promise he will be starting the rest of the year unless he gets injured. This dude, the coaching staff loves him. He's played really well on the outside. We're in great hands out there. Everett is a guy who is good enough to be on the field. He's just not better than Keeley and Kamari right now. But they want to get him meaningful snaps. We've said on the show before, you cannot replicate game reps. You can't do it.
Nope.
So why not get it in a possession where you know Vanderbilt's going to be trying to throw the ball, put him on their best receiver. And I thought he had some really, really good snaps. He had a pass breakup on Shepard. He caught one ball on him, but he was right there in coverage. I think he's going to be a really good player, and I like to see him get those reps.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We've been talking about this too, which obviously we never want any of our guys to get injured, but it does create opportunities for those game reps. We're seeing Zion Logue, we're seeing Bear Alexander, we're seeing Warren Brinson. These guys are getting meaningful experience, and that matters because when somebody does go down, you want somebody that's been battle tested, somebody that's been out there and has been taking snaps because you can't replicate that. I don't care how much you can practice 22 hours a day. Doesn't matter. It's not the same as playing in the game.
Yeah, and I think that's why people are happy to see Beck, and I think this is where Kirby Smart has definitely changed his philosophy a lot over the years, is especially with quarterbacks. He's not just coming in to hand it off at the end of games. Like as a coach in the SEC, the other team's not rubbing it in if they're throwing the ball up 40 with their backup in. That is just game reps. And you should be thankful for that because then your backup DBs are also getting game reps. Like that's how it is. You're just playing a separate game almost when the backups come in. And getting those guys reps is so impactful. And you hear them, and that's why people are like, why do we schedule these sucky games? You kind of need them for development. Like you kind of need those third and fourth quarters for development. You get a lot out of that time, spring practice, stuff like that. You just cannot replicate unless you put the pads on and do it.
Yep, absolutely. And, it's one of those things, too, where Georgia's not going out there and running 4 verts every play with Carson Beck. They're running the offense. They're running, 10-yard posts, 10 yards out. Like, they're evaluating. Like, it ain't for the sake of points.
Chase Langford says the defense has been good at keeping things in front of them where it will pay off to do that come November 5th. Exactly. Like that.
That's always what they've been good at, too, under Kirby. Like, that's
try to think back on just huge bust plays since Kirby Smart has arrived. The only one that just quickly comes to mind is Jalen Waddle in 2020.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
And Tyson Campbell
Jameson Williams catches in the SEC championship.
Yeah, that's true. When he toasted Lewis on that one play.
And both of those guys were top 10 picks, and they're 2 of the better receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean,
you can't
Jameson
really
hasn't
played yet,
that.
but you get the point.
Yeah. There's just not that many. And when it is, it's dudes. Like we're talking about Jalen Waddle and Jameson Williams here. Those, as good as Tennessee's receivers are, I will never take anything away from them. They got good weapons. They don't have Jameson Williams. They don't have Jalen Waddle. They don't have a top 10 pick wideout. They have a lot of guys who can go make plays, but we have a lot of guys who can go out there and stop them. And y'all thought we were crazy for talking about putting all these DBs on the field. You don't think we're going to be in dime a lot against Tennessee? Because we're going to trust our front four when Jalen Carter's back to get pressure on their own. We will dial up a few blitzes, but Malachi Starks is going to be on the field. Tyke Smith's going to be on the field. Chris Smith. We're going to have all hands on deck, and those guys are so good that the coaching staff is willing to put as many of them on the field as possible and say, don't let the big play happen. Go make a play.
Well, I mean, when you've got as much talent as we have on the front four, you got Nolan Smith, a seasoned veteran, Robert Beal, seasoned veteran, Jalen Carter, top 5 talent in the NFL draft. I mean, you got to trust those guys there. I mean, You
see, Chase, we don't talk about this. We don't talk about it. He said 2017 Natty. That is not to be discussed. He's right, but it's not to be discussed. But that is Devontae Smith, who all-time receiving leader in college football.
Literally won the Heisman. So,
But here's the thing, and we'll talk about this plenty. We got plenty of Tennessee preview. I don't want to harp on it.
No.
Yeah.
You can't play Tennessee's game because Bama played Tennessee's game and they lost. What you have to do is when Bama started cooking, Bama was down 21 points. Well, not down 21 points. Tennessee scored 21 points in 5 minutes possession time.
Yeah, it's 28-10.
They got
18.
They got 2 or 3 3-and-outs in a row, and guess what? That defense was hands on the hips. That's what you got to do. You can't let them turn it into a track meet. Let them try because they'll wear out their own defense doing that. But you got to control the clock. You got to control the ball. 100%. That's what you got to do. You got to dominate time of possession, and you got to dominate turnover battle. But that's, I mean, when you break it down that simple, that's almost any football game. So.
And when we're gonna talk about, like you said, a lot more come Tennessee week. But I was gonna say that. How often is there a shootout in Sanford Stadium? Never.
LSU that LSU game is the only one I've ever experienced.
And that's a long time ago. Long time ago. Kirby Smart dictates the pace of the game. That's what he wants to do. Anytime we've ever lost, it got away from us. That's what we don't do that. That's what I was actually talking to one of my good buddies who's a Tennessee fan, very reasonable. He's one of the few. But that's what we were talking about that, and I was like, that's going to be Tennessee's biggest test of where they're at, because when they come into Athens, it's not, like you said, it's not going to be a track meet. Like, they're going to have to figure out a way to win a hard-nosed, tough football game like that. And if they do that, it's like hats off. You know, they've earned it. They're a really good team. Go with the national championship, whatever. But until they do that, like, that's why we are still the team to beat. Because, like I said, we can win up front. We will win up front. And we are going to dictate the pace of the game because we are the better team. So,
oh my God, I would love to run the ball for 250 yards on them. That would be
awesome.
Well, see, that's the thing. Bama, like, you know, they're known, like, they were built on, this dynasty has been built on winning up front, winning in the trenches. Their offensive linemen, how many offensive linemen have they had drafted in the first round the past Nick Saban's tenure? Unlimited.
Probably enough for 2 or 3 offensive lines.
Yeah.
Right, unlimited. And this year, it's just not it's not the same Alabama offensive line that it was in the past. And so, like, it's tougher to run the ball. They got to get Jahmyr Gibbs in different ways, and Bryce Young has a lot on his shoulders. And that's just what made that game so different for them. And I think that's why they kind of had to play the pace game with Tennessee. But
yeah, I mean, Bama had a plug and play left tackle come from Vanderbilt, but all was supposed to be great. And that's why I was like, pump the brakes.
Well, while we're talking about turnovers,
yes.
Won the turnover battle again. Very important. Chris Smith gets the fumble, which when I first saw that play, for some reason, I thought he was down by like a lot, and he was not down by a lot.
Me too. I thought the same exact thing. And that's what I was going to say is those games we struggled, we lost the turnover battle. You see how the game goes when we win it. Obviously, we really took care of the football. And the defense is out there scrapping and making plays. Like, that's what it's about. When the bend don't break defense like we do, you force turnovers. And when you force turnovers, that sucks the momentum out of a team. We were able to do that against Vanderbilt. We were able to do that against Auburn. If we create those turnovers moving forward, our life is going to be so much easier. We're in better field position, more momentum, everything about it. It just wipes the breath out of a team when they drive the length of the field, because like we said, we don't let big plays up. So you're absolutely grinding for every single yard you get. And then if you put the ball on the turf, that wipes you. Absolutely wipes.
Especially if you're in Sanford, because that's going to set the crowd off. Key.
Yeah.
And another thing too, like the other side of that, like your defense, if like even when like the other side of that, when you go on the field and Georgia is running the ball down your throat, and we have a 7-minute drive that scores a touchdown, and then you go out there and you go 3 and out in 30 seconds on 3 passes. I mean, your defense got to go right back out there after a 7-minute drive, and that's tough.
And Griff, on top of that, you're getting the offense out of rhythm when they're sitting over there for 6-7 minutes.
Yeah.
You know? Like, this isn't some foreign concept. This is what football is built on in a game and age where everybody wants to see the run and gun, which at times is great. If you want to mix that in after a long drive, score quick, that really kicks them. You remember against Florida when we got the interception, we instantly took a deep shot, score. Like, there is a time and a place. But like you said, when you have the best defense against Tennessee's offense is keeping them on the bench, on the sideline. That's the best you can play.
And I know you tweeted about it, and I don't want to harp on this Tennessee game anymore because we'll get to it. But, like, the narrative is going to be, can Stetson and Georgia's offense keep up with Tennessee's offense?
I think that's just so
all
wrong.
week long. Win Schumann and the defense are going to be sitting there just waiting, to get their chance to show everybody just how good they are. And it's going to be
Georgia.
before we get any further,
yeah.
I'm just going to tell everybody, if you would please hit the like button on this video, we would greatly appreciate it. Subscribe to the podcast. Even if you're not going to listen to it, just subscribe, please. It helps us out tremendously. And, of course, follow us on Twitter, because now that we have a real big game in our targets with Florida and Tennessee coming up, it's about to be on, and you're going to want to be a part of it. Just follow us on Twitter.
We need
pull up Connor's comment, too, because I want to talk about this.
Yeah, I do.
Appreciate the donate,
I think we all
man.
have opinions, I think.
See, the thing is, it's kind of just a thing at this point. Like, you go to for anybody listening on podcasts, he says, thoughts on moving the Georgia and Florida game from Jacksonville. I understand. I'm pretty sure Kirby has come out in favor of saying he wants to do it home and home. That's the thing, is I kind of like going to Jacksonville. It's fun to do the whole thing in Jacksonville, but I've done it so many times, me personally, I'm kind of over it, but that's just not how that works. I don't think it's going to change, if that's really what you're asking too, in terms of what we think will happen. I don't think it's going to change. Hopefully it can be a night game every once in a while without CBS having the contract for it.
I completely agree with what Kirby says, though. Like, Alabama's biggest recruiting weekend is when Auburn comes to town, and vice versa for Auburn. It used to be like that with LSU. We lose a huge recruiting weekend, and we can host recruits that week, but that's just giving them tickets for the game. Like, that's not giving them the full experience. I personally am all for a home and home. I don't like Jacksonville, though. I think it's a dump.
I hate Jacksonville.
Awful.
I think the stadium's a dump. There's one exit to get in, and it's awful. I'm not going this year, if that tells you anything. I've been the last 3 years. I'm sick of it. I really think it's cool that the baseball team plays the night before there now. That's pretty sick. They play Florida in a fall scrimmage, so if you're down there, definitely go to that. But I think Jacksonville's a dump. That's where I'm at.
Connor said what Jacksonville every third year. I like that. I can live with that.
That would be interesting.
It would be fun. I would like to play in the Swamp, and I would like for Florida to come to Athens, because you think about our home schedule on the years we don't have Auburn and Tennessee, it stinks. Like, unless we have a good unless we pull somebody from the West or have a good non-conference, it stinks.
We got Ole Miss next year.
Right,
Ole
that'd
Miss
be cool.
Will be a good one.
That'd be cool. But definitely, I would love to see that Florida game at home. And if Kirby wants it, I want it. That's where I'm at.
Well, and one thing too that it's always weird to me, because I feel like I've talked to people about this, and I don't know if this is just a group of people that I've talked to, but they're like, "But what about Frat Beach? Like, they won't let Frat Beach die. Who cares about Frat Beach?
Just go to Frat Beach. Why
I also feel like the university doesn't make any money off of Frat Beach. Like,
they don't.
Yeah. So why would they care about Frat Beach?
I think it's a cool tradition, and I'm not for it. I've never been in my life, and I never will. But you can still go. Like, just go stay. Like, every Halloween weekend, have Frat Beach, and then the game will be played that weekend. But Frat Beach is not even close to Jacksonville. Like,
it's not.
It's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I went this last
an hour and a half.
My only thing was like, oh my God, this is miserable. I'm way too old to be here. That's all I can think about the whole time.
People just bring jugs of like straight vodka and get
do I still have mine?
Messed up.
I think I might
the most messed up they've ever been in their life. Like, they don't even know what happens like after.
I promise you that Frat Beach is not dependent on that game being in Jacksonville. That can happen.
We sound so old right now.
That can happen regardless.
We are.
We are old. But
if you're like 22 at Frat Beach, you're old. Like, I know people that are seniors and undergrad that don't go.
You can't be legal and be at Frat Beach.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's part of the thrill of it. Is like, oh, I might get caught.
That's true. No, I seriously hate Jack. Like, I'm at the point where I hate it. I don't want to go.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
The traffic, and this is super old. This is like the oldest I've ever sounded. But it is a dump. It is an absolute dump. Jacksonville sucks.
It's bad.
The place we had to park last year, like,
me too.
There was a shooting like 5 minutes after we got in our car.
No,
I was like,
yes. I have a story about that. I'll tell it real quick. Me and my girlfriend were walking back to our car, like, just through that little strip area right there. And everyone just starts taking off, just running. And I was like, what is going on? I didn't hear gunshots or anything, but dude, everyone was just running, panicking. We ran all the way to the car. Hallie got like almost trampled. Like, someone like literally knocked her down. I had to pick her up. It was wild.
Yeah. I don't have like. There's some nice areas in Jacksonville. Shout out Chandler. I'm not trying to rip on your hometown. I'm
Yeah,
ripping
sorry,
on that
man.
experience. That Jacksonville experience is.
It's
Yeah,
North
I have
Duval,
one.
which
Yeah,
is where
I
this
have
thing
one. I have one
All
friend who always
trails.
gets at me because I say it's crap hole.
It's just that area. Like you go downtown, it's pretty nice. We went out after the baseball game last year. We were at a bachelor party. There were some nice places. It was cool. Hangout. Braves were in the World Series. But yeah, where the games played and stuff, garbage, an absolute garbage can. That
right, let's finish
stadium
up,
is what's
baby.
bad. Stadium
Yeah,
is what's
stadium.
bad. Yeah, we fence, Jake. Take over on we fence.
All right. We had one Brett Thorson punt, for those of you keeping track at home. Downed it on the 12. Once again, only punt of the game. You love only having one punt, but another masterclass from the Aussie. Beautiful stuff. And Lad's close to breaking one. I think he might do it in the next 2 weeks.
That'd be an
2
electric time to do it. An electric time to do it.
Exactly.
Bust one in the cocktail party.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any,
that was.
Go ahead.
That was one of the last points I had. Is getting healthy for Florida is really important. That's
Yeah.
what I think needs to stay at the front of mind because Florida's going to get up for this game.
No
They've
doubt.
had some issues, it seems, after LSU. It looks like a lot of the players may have quit on the team. I promise they'll get up for this game. It doesn't matter who's got those uniforms on. They will be ready to play us. They want to beat us. They want to knock us off. They want to ruin our year. So you can't fall asleep at the wheel. Not us, not the fans, the players. You can't fall asleep at the wheel looking ahead at Tennessee because, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. That's the thing. When you're the number one team in the country and you're the best team, you're the team to beat. You're the one that everyone wants to knock off. No matter who it is, no matter where you're going, no matter who you're playing, they want to beat you because they want to be in the spotlight and upset you. I mean, that's going to be the most talked about thing of the week if somebody beats the number one team. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Yeah.
I mean, every given day, that's who they want. You got a target on your back, and that's part of the culture that Kirby's built is just living in that and wanting people to want to beat you, and then just beating them.
Yeah.
I know Dan Mullen's not there anymore, but I feel like Kirby still takes a special pride in pretending he's across that sideline and just
No doubt.
absolutely whipping him up and down
He
the field.
hated Dan Mullen. That was one of my favorite things. He hated him just as much as we did. He's the best.
Like
It's
it was so
so
funny
funny
because like
He's
I just kept waiting on him to just absolutely deck him at midfield, like any given
He hated him.
Georgia Florida game. That would have been awesome.
one of my favorite Georgia Florida games was when back in I guess it was 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It was the year that Florida got like 5 penalties on the 1 yard line and
Yes.
just could not. Yes. Oh my God. When he came out on the field, he was like, I thought he was having a seizure. He was shaking so bad, screaming at the refs and everybody, we were, screaming at him. We were sitting like below the scoreboard. Like I think we were on the first level, but we were below the scoreboard. You couldn't hear us.
Yeah.
We were just letting Dan Mullen have it, man. And he, it's so funny because he's on that college football halftime show now, and he's still there, just lurched over. Like,
He took 2 timeouts on the first drive that year. That was my favorite part. I was like, "What are you doing, bro?" He was when Florida fans thought he was Kirby Jr. That was one of those times where I'm like, "Are we watching the same football game?" Like we seriously think this guy right here has any resemblance of Saban or Kirby, any at all.
Talk about a take that aged just like milk. I mean, that's got to be up there as one of the worst I've heard.
That was a good day on Twitter when we all kind of caught our breath and it was like, oh, we need to go find all those people who said Dan Mullen would win a title before.
Yes. And I do miss Dan Mullen. He made the rivalry fun because he was a good guy to hate. I have no hate in my heart for Billy Napier right now. Maybe he'll do something that makes me do it. Where I
hope he says something this week about it or something.
Me too. He won't. He's too good of a dude.
That's what we say. We talk about, I don't like this person. We need villains. Every sport needs a villain. Every sport needs their Conor McGregor. Every sport needs their whoever. You got to have them because then who else are you gonna hate?
Exactly. Sports villains.
I'm fine with being the villain too. I'm fine with everybody hating us.
They had
that's us.
Dan
that's
Mullen,
not Kirby or any of them.
Yeah. They had Dan Mullen and Todd Grantham on the sidelines. That was the easiest team to hate ever.
Yeah.
Urban Meyer before that too.
Chandler's right. It's Saban. Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. But in the East, Florida was fun. It's fun when they're good enough to think they can beat us, but they really can't. That's when it's fun.
And the Butch Jones era of Tennessee was fun because it's funny when the guys are so goofy And like,
yeah, I was about to say, Butch just has a stupid face. Like I feel like that was part of it.
but their fan bases still thought they were really good coaches, but they were just really, really goofy. Like,
Yeah.
dude, the Butchisms from that time.
There's one guy that it wouldn't take much for me, and it's Heupel. It would not take much for me to hate him.
Another dumb face.
Exactly. He's hateable.
I don't like him already.
He starts saying some dumb stuff or something. It would not take much at all. He hasn't
in
yet.
a weird way.
I don't
right now
Heupel yet.
In a weird way, right now I like Heupel because I see all these posts from all these Tennessee fans are like, he's the worst hire ever, and it just embarrasses them that he's good. So in a weird way, I kind of do like him right now. But I'm sure that'll change in short order. But
it's not going to take much, like I said, for him at all.
Gus Malzahn, that was another
no
good
doubt.
Gus was just like that as well.
Screw. We whipped the darn crap out of him.
The question is, does Gus Malzahn make it back in the SEC with success at UCF? I don't know.
If Gus knows what's good for him, he doesn't try.
I can see him thriving in a place like Mississippi State or something, but I don't think he will.
Yeah,
I think he should stay parked right there in Orlando.
I saved the question.
Thursday games.
I saved the question. If you're Auburn, why wouldn't you at least give him a call if you can't find anybody else? I don't think that's nuts, but their pride would never let them do it. But
absolutely not.
Yeah, I don't know who they're going to get. I'm interested to see how that works.
They can
Brian
land
Harsin
someone
still
good.
has not got
Jeff
fired.
Collins.
Oh my God! What if they did? What if they hired Jeff Collins?
There will be no way. That's
if you're Matt Rule, why on earth would you coach this year? You're gonna make $840 a month to do nothing.
Why would you do anything ever again?
That's insanity. When I saw that figure, I was like, oh my God, I'm fishing. I'm doing everything except being around football.
Yeah.
Just be an analyst if you want it that bad. Go be an analyst.
Go be like Matt Luke and go play
college.
golf every day.
Yeah, for real. For real. I think.
Yeah, and
Lane Kiffin might be at Auburn when it's all said and done.
Really?
I don't know.
That would be a weird move. It would feel really weird. Yeah, I know what you're. No, I know what you're saying, but it just feels weird. Like, when's the last time like that happened? Like a head coach,
Dan Mullen, Mississippi State to Florida.
But that's not the same.
But I feel like the parity is there's a little more like difference between the level of Florida's program versus the level of Mississippi State.
I agree.
From Auburn to Ole Miss. Ole Miss just had their first 10-win season in school history.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know.
They suck. I mean, Lane Kiffin has made them good, but they're a terrible program. Auburn's a top 10 job in the country.
No, I agree.
Did you see what they just tried to run Brian Harsin off for?
Yeah,
we know Lane Kiffin is no stranger to controversy.
Yeah, but they made that up. Lane Kiffin demands way more respect than Brian. They hired Brian.
Yeah, Lane will actually do it.
Push him over. That was the problem.
Lane will actually do it.
They don't want to hire somebody that's not gonna listen to their BS. That's why they hired Brian Harsin in the first place. You hire a guy like Matt Rule or Lane Kiffin or Deion Sanders, and you can't bully him around like that. So we'll see.
I just don't think Deion's who everybody thinks he is. I think Deion will recruit really well, but I don't. The X's and O's from HBCU ball to the SEC is you might as well be going from high school to the NFL.
That's for like anything though. It's all about the staff you hire around him. Like Deion comes in and hires just like a 80 grade class or 80 grade coaching staff, they'd be rolling because he'd get the players. So yeah, I think you have to be willing to roll with the punches there because, like you said, there's a lot of learning curve for a head coach, but in terms of getting people in the stands, getting players on the field, the rest you can figure out.
Especially we saw him take Travis Hunter away from a 2-year commitment to FSU. So
that's crazy.
I'm still thinking about Lane Kiffin to Auburn, and I would hate that so much. I kind of like Lane Kiffin. It's kind of fun for him to be involved in everything with a bunch of teams we hate, and like not really have to like worry about him, you know. But if he's Auburn, then you know.
Lane Kiffin's like that weird kid in your class that pipes up like once every 2 weeks with a really funny joke and then just doesn't say anything ever again. Like he's like I don't think about like I haven't thought once about like, man, what if we see Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss in Atlanta? I mean, it could happen, but I don't like. He doesn't keep me up at night, but he's also kind of funny sometimes, and so it's
yeah. No, I'm saying right. Just in terms of like I like him, like he's fun. He's fun to watch and see all his antics and all that crap. But if we had to play him, I know I'd hate his guts. Or if we had to play him every year, I guess.
Chandler says Ole Miss in a way better spot right now because they have Lane Kiffin. It would be a quick switch. It'd be a quick switch.
Ole Miss, I feel like, is becoming a lot more attractive.
Well, yeah, because of the offense they play. Like
Lane Kiffin has shown before he has no loyalty, so I'm sure he would make that switch if he.
It's not even about loyalty. Like I'm not gonna harping on dude's loyalty. Like, I just think Auburn's been dormant for a while. You don't realize how good of a job Auburn is. They have a top 10 fan base, top 10 recruiting pool, top 10 campus. Like, that is a place you want to be. So Lane Kiffin will not hang up the phone. I promise you he'll hear him out.
Oh, yeah, he'll listen.
And, you know, you talk about top 10 jobs, and we think about it in different ways. People don't want Arkansas to start throwing bags around because Arkansas has bags. And once they start getting some players, like, because we know Sam Pittman, you know, he can coach at a high level. Arkansas is one of those schools that has sneaky money. Like, people know about A&M, people know about Texas. Arkansas is right up there with them, not with A&M, because I think A&M is actually like almost doubles whoever's second or whatever. They spend so much money on athletics. But Arkansas is right there with your Texas, with your Oklahoma, with your Notre Dame. Like, they got bags. And if they start throwing them around, it's going to be
like the thing that makes Auburn so attractive is they have West Georgia. Like, West Georgia is theirs. Like, Arkansas, it's tough because they have to pull from Texas. But Auburn is a place where people want to go. They grow up wanting to go. It's one of those places where you don't have to recruit that hard to get people there. So I don't know. I don't know who they're going to get, but they need to hit a home run. Like, no more Brian Harsons.
Yeah. Well, we do want to plug this before we go. We are doing our men's basketball preview it'll be out Thursday.
Yes.
And we're really excited. I was kind of going through the roster today. I kind of, had forgotten a little bit. We've been so tied up with football season. I forgot we had 11 guys transferred out. So pretty much everybody is new. Still got Braylon Bridges, and thank God we still have Kario Okendo. We're going to talk some Mike White. We're going to talk some key games. We're going to talk, maybe a little SEC outlook and, kind of what we expect out of year one. But I'm excited about Georgia basketball. I'm gonna give them all my support this year. I gave them all my support last year when they won one game. That was the only game that I went to was when we beat Alabama. That was hilarious. We were, they were going off the court, man. We were just beating on the side of the wall. It's just like football. It's just like football.
That was the one game out of the year that you would want to win, even if the season went that way, just because of the jokes that you can make.
We need to find a way to get people in the stands. That should be our mission on this podcast this year, is find a way to fill this deck.
All right.
I don't know how we're going to do it, but we need to figure out a way to make basketball.
We'll give away to speaker to somebody that sends a picture of us at the game.
Yeah, we need to make basketball cool again.
It's fun when you get into it. It's like
I will say that they don't make that great of an environment. They're doing that weird little dance that the band does. You got Spike rolling around. There's a lot of stuff that's not cool about it. They need to make it cool.
But you can make it cool. Yes, you can do it.
I need to have a talk.
Go drink 15 beers with your friends at Applebee's before, and then just go to the game and heckle the opposing team.
Oh,
basketball is the sport. You can heckle that team. They hear you.
And don't worry, guys.
Hear every word you say.
We will still have our picks next week too, so don't worry about that.
We'll for sure.
In the basketball.
Connor
stuff,
said, "Can we finish top half in SEC?"
We'll see.
You got to tune in Thursday to find out.
We will do a live podcast in the Steg. Now we're talking.
If somebody
I would be just so down.
I would absolutely.
If we have a cameraman out there that can set that up, yes.
Somebody hook us up with that, and
we'll do a pregame before a basketball show, or before a basketball game.
Yeah, let's all put on suits and let's set up a folding table outside of the Steg like we're the commentators.
That's what we need to do. Yeah, correct. Have a college game day for us only.
Yeah, we'll figure something out. We'll do something.
Just right in front of the line of people waiting to get in.
Yeah,
because we got a big home game. January 4th. Okay, that's before the national championship, so that's probably not going to happen if we're there. But January 4th, we have Auburn at home. That would be a good one to do it for.
For sure. No doubt. All right, folks, thanks for coming out. Chat was popping as always. Love you guys. This is Baxter Street Boys. We'll be back Thursday for a college basketball preview, plus our picks. Going to be a great week. Time to take a break from Georgia football this week, obviously. Nice mental reset. And then the meat and taters of our schedule gets rolling and the real season starts. Have a good week, everybody, and go Dogs.